Welcome to the Anita Chat Podcast. I'm your host and coach, Anita Rombo. This is the podcast for growth-oriented, high-vibe, and big-hearted people who are ready to show up and glow up to be the best versions of themselves. If you are ready to embrace your most authentic, aligned, and abundant life, one that feels great on the inside and out, then you, my friend, are in good company. Grab your favorite bevy, settle in. We've got lots to chat about.
I consider myself a master manifestor. I manifested 90% of my vision board in under 3 months. But what happened next completely shocked me and revealed something so profound that I need to share it with you here today. Because here's the truth. You can do everything right. You can vision board, affirmation, scripting, and still not manifest what you truly want. And it might have nothing to do with your mindset or your action or lack thereof. The missing piece, or the secret that no one told me that I really came to appreciate much more this time around, is safety. You don't get what you want. You get what you feel safe to receive. In other words, you can't attract what your body doesn't feel safe to hold. Hi there, I'm Anita. I'm a soul strategist, a life and business coach for brave seekers ready to create a life and business that feels authentic, aligned, and abundant, something I call soulful success. I'm also a best-selling author, a keynote speaker, and the founder of the Ignite Your Light Summit. Quick note, our next summit is actually happening this September. There's going to be 2 powerful days where we explore mindset shifts that change everything, fulfilling relationships, simple wellness tools, and so much more to help you feel energized and excited about your life again. So if you're interested in getting on the wait list or getting some more information, details are in the episode description, along with links to information on how to coach with me privately or in one of my one-on-one group coaching programs, the Soulful Success Academy, which is also opening up in September, as well as the Successful Soulpreneur. Now, back to the episode. Well, let's rewind to January. In January, I released a video on how to use vision boards to manifest your desires. That was a really value-packed episode. Everything I shared works. It promotes clarity. Vision boards in particular help ground you in your vision. I'll link to that episode description again in case you missed that or you want to revisit it. But in this episode, I want to go deeper into a piece that I touched on in that video, and that was the concept of energetic alignment, which is, of course, one of the foundational pillars of soulful success, right? Authentic, aligned, and abundant. When I say alignment here, I don't just mean knowing what you want. I mean aligning your energy to receiving it. So this year, when I made my vision board, and I published this video later than when most of these types of vision board type of videos would be out, it was in the mid-January timeframe. And I mentioned I did that specifically with intention, knowing that I might have missed the boat when people are looking for that type of content. But that's because that's when I felt fully aligned to that process for myself. I felt grounded enough to slow down and tune in. And I consider this to be a very sacred ritual. Usually, when I am done with creating a vision board, I mentioned that I would print it, I would frame it, I would display it, revisit it often. But in all honesty, this year, things have been a little bit different. My printer has been down, for one. So it hasn't been printed, and it's actually sitting under a stack of papers in my office. So I haven't done a wonderful job of revisiting it. Just being honest and transparent here, this is a bit of a different year in terms of how I'm using the tool. Fast forward to last week, I finally came across my vision board while I was tidying. It was literally underneath a stack of papers in my office, and I gasped when I saw that 90% of my vision board had come true. So here is what I manifested in particular, in addition to the actual pictures that you see on my vision board. So one is a dog that looks exactly like the one I pinned into my life, and a deeper connection with our neighbors. This dog and my kids in particular have developed such a close bond, whereas before we didn't have any kind of bond or relationship with this dog. Now we are walking this dog often, and we look forward to it, and he has my whole heart. In this picture too, I manifested this exact flooring right down to the shade, thanks to this full main floor reno that happened in the span of the last 3 months. I also manifested this white SUV for road trips. I didn't even choose it. My husband brought it home. I test drove a totally different car. but this was the one that we ended up with. And really, I put this on my vision board because I wanted to call in more connection, more adventures, more travel with my family. This picture in particular was a rented car that we took to road trip on the West Coast. And very shortly, we'll be embarking on another road trip, but this time on the East Coast. So my wish to manifest more connections, more travel, more road trips, and this vehicle have essentially come to fruition. And last but not least, my dream kitchen renovation, complete with this white floral arrangement that you see here. In fact, I was gifted a beautiful white floral arrangement the day after our island arrived. And so I placed them on the counter, admiring this transformation. And the next day, I was really, really surprised because that's exactly when I found the vision board and saw the exact photo. So the angle from which I was admiring this counter, the flowers, everything, just, couldn't imagine that this is my space. And the extent of that transformation in the last 3 months, just really, I saw it in that picture. It's all beautiful, right? I'm so, so excited and grateful for all of this. But can I also be honest with you and say it's also a little overwhelming? And I know this is totally first world problems. I totally get my privilege here. But what no one talks about is this, and this is often something I work through with my coaching clients, because we really bust through a lot of blocks that are keeping them stuck. People experience changes and transformations, even positive change. It's still change. And your body craves familiarity, craves routine, craves safety. For me, in this case, everything was happening so fast. The decisions, the renovations, the family logistics, coordinating and getting vendors on board, figuring out what colors I want, what kind of anything I wanted, in addition to running my business full time, in addition to my other job, in addition to being on the soccer field 4 days a week. It was just a lot in general to add to an already big, full schedule. And I was tapped out. And again, while yes, this is a privileged problem, it doesn't mean it wasn't real to me. And that's why I'm sharing this with you. And how this manifested for me is that every choice just started to feel heavier, even though these were all great things. Things like picking countertops or paint colors really brought anxiety, a lot of sleeplessness to it. My body also literally gave out. Like I developed SI joint dysfunction where I was out cold, like I could barely move. Each step was painful. And that happened, I think, as a result of the lifting, carrying, dusting, cleaning from the trades, but more importantly, from the fact that our hips are storing repressed emotions. And so this was really just breaking through some big blocks. Through all of this, when I was forced to slow down, what hit me was really that this wasn't just about manifesting, it was about receiving. And I had hit an internal upper limit for myself. Okay. So it wasn't a mindset issue, it was a capacity issue. And here's what I've learned, again, not just as a coach and from my work, but from my somatic psychology background and nervous system science. Your nervous system has one job, and that is to keep you alive. It's not here to help you manifest. It's here to keep things safe. It's here to keep things predictable. It's here to keep things familiar. So even the good stuff, more success, more joy, more love, more money, a bigger home, a better job, whatever it is, can feel threatening to your system if it doesn't feel emotionally safe. Your body is subconsciously asking 3 questions. Is this known? Is this predictable? And can I survive this? And if the answer to any of those questions is no, your nervous system hits the brakes hard. So your nervous system is your manifestation portal. And that is what I became acutely aware of this time around. The tools, vision boards, affirmations, scripting, whatever it is that you do, they're great, but they're surface level if your nervous system isn't on board. So we also got to do the deeper work of making sure that that nervous system feels safe and feels supported to let in more. So here's the truth. When you ask for more success, more love, more joy, you're also asking your system to step beyond its comfort zone. And as we talked about, that can feel dangerous. Many of us, especially women, have been conditioned to associate receiving with risk. It might feel like you'll be judged, or you'll lose it all, or you'll owe someone, or you're unworthy of it. These are all common blocks that we all experience, myself included. Maybe a coach, but I'm also living life. And these are all life lessons that we go through. So as a result, we might unconsciously push it away. We might delay, we might distract, we might self-sabotage, not because we're broken, but we are wired to survive. Yeah, you might, but this doesn't necessarily equate to sabotaging yourself on purpose. You're just hitting your nervous system's upper limit. So we manifest not what we logically want, what we put on the paper, for example, but what feels emotionally familiar to us. So if you want to call in more, the secret here is increasing your capacity to receive. And which that really means is increasing your body's capacity to feel safe to receive. So now that I've spilled the beans and given you the secret, what I really experienced this time around, I also want to share with you 3 steps to help you feel more safe receiving. The first is to focus on regulation, regulate, right? Whether it's using breath work, box breathing, if you're out and about, just intentionally slowing down your exhales. That's how I start each and every single coaching session with people, to create the safe container so that we can do the deep soul work, or even EFT or tapping, energy work like Reiki healing. I also incorporate that a lot with my coaching clients. So my advice to you is to incorporate this type of a tool or modality into your practice every single day to help your body feel calm and secure. The second thing is to rehearse receiving. Right. And again, this could come from visualization. It could also just be in practicing saying yes or accepting help. How could you accept some more in your life? How could you receive more in your life? Maybe you could accept small gifts instead of having a hard time with it. Maybe you can let somebody buy you coffee. Maybe you could say yes to accepting an offer of help. Maybe even if somebody opens the door for you and you're walking into the mall and you say, "No, thanks, I got it." Could you let somebody do that for you? These are really small things, but by starting small and increasing your capacity to accept small things, then you can increase your capacity to open up to bigger things as well. And last but not least, the third thing that I want to leave you with is I want you to ask yourself, what part of me feels unsafe with this dream? And I want you to journal about it. I want you to get curious. And of course, I do not want you to judge. This is just an inquiry, self-discovery, self-exploration. So long story short, regulation is the ritual. And again, if I'm going to share the story with you, I'm sharing it from a place of a person who supports change and growth in others, but most importantly in myself. So as I geek out over things, I am also going through lessons and unlocking blocks. And just when you've mastered one, and there's another level or layer to it. So self-work, self-inquiry, self-discovery, transformation, growth, evolution, none of that ever ends. So I am sharing with you a journey that I've been on recently. And for me, as I think about what part of this felt unsafe with me, so that I got things like SI joint dysfunction and I couldn't walk, and I felt really anxious by the process instead of leaning into the joy at times. For me, the dream that felt the most scariest was my home, because if I'm being real, this house never really felt safe. We moved in just before the first wave of the pandemic, 5 days before the world shut down. And when the house was transferred over to us, it wasn't in the best of shape. And so we already had big plans to change the look and feel of the house, because we loved the bones of the house, but it just needed updating. But on top of that, there were some things that we needed to kind of tend to right away. And not only that, 5 days later, we were wiping groceries with Lysol and stockpiling toilet paper. And sometime in that year and a bit of the pandemic, I also lost my job. There was lost income, there was lost stability. And that was actually my foray into entrepreneurship, fun fact. But it always felt like something would go wrong. And since then, over the course of the 5 years, every time we've tried to move forward on renovations, something has always come up. And so while I wanted the dream kitchen, a part of me was holding my breath, waiting for it all to fall apart again. And no wonder I got stuck. This is where so many people get stuck, right? We think we're blocked because we're not thinking positive enough, or we're not scripting hard enough. But the truth is, we're not broken. We're just doing it wrong. Our nervous system hasn't caught up to our new reality yet. What if it's not about pushing harder? What if it's about learning to feel safe receiving what you already called in, right? That's the reframe that changed everything for me. All right, my friends, I share this with you not just as a coach, but as a real woman doing the inner work too. Remember that we don't rise to what we hope for. We rise to what we feel worthy of, and more importantly, what we feel safe to receive. So if you are ready to accelerate your manifestations, to release some of those blocks so that you can open yourself up to receive and rise even further, higher, faster, whatever it is, then I invite you to join me for a free workshop that I'm hosting on August 8th. It's a free Lionsgate activation workshop where we'll be harnessing the energy of the Lionsgate Portal on 0808. It's also a very energetically magical time that is so in sync with this energy. Together, as part of our work, we'll look at regulating our nervous system for safety and expanding our capacity, releasing what's not holding us back. We're going to align with receiving more. And best of all, this is all free. So if this is of interest to you, I will link to that information in the episode description. I hope to see you there. It's going to be Friday, August 8th at 8 p.m. via Zoom. You do need to register if you want to attend. The magnitude of what I manifested in such a short period of time is showing me, and also hopefully showing you, that your next level isn't out of reach. It's just waiting for your body to say yes. That's it for today, and I hope to see you at the Lionsgate workshop. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Anita Chat podcast. If you haven't taken a minute to leave a review, I would absolutely love to hear from you. All you need to do is to search for the show, click your star rating, and type in a few words. Also, if there's a specific topic you'd like to see covered in this podcast, if you'd like me to be your coach, or if you want to just chat, feel free to send me an email or shoot me a message through my IG, which you'll find in the show notes. The show notes will also contain any links to the freebies that were referenced in this episode. Until next time, friends, it's been great chatting with you.